considering the minute as the unit, so 15 students per minute they are joining between say 7:55 to 8 o'clock. And of course, after that the rate may change, because there may be the rate may increase to say 30 per minute kind of thing, because now I can see that the students are joining at a much faster rate per second. Say one student is joining. Okay, now in this case, how to derive the distribution? So we gave certain assumptions here. And what were the assumptions? So we are considering it as a time-based process. Of course, it can be area-based process or spatial thing-based process also. However, for the convenience of deriving this thing and the example that I am considering, we will consider it as time-based process. So we are considering that xt is the number of occurrences in an interval of length t. In fact, we are considering intervals like this, that we start from the time 0 and we go up to the time t. Now the starting point 0 is subjective, like whatever time you start, you can consider it as 0. So it could be a, so a to a plus t kind of thing. Okay, so then we consider this. So one side we will close and one side we will keep it open. Okay, so because we don't think that whatever event is happening, we consider it as from the open interval 0 to t. Okay, and p and t we consider as probability that xt is equal to n. That is probability that there are n occurrences in interval 0 to t. Then we made certain assumptions. One assumption was that the number of occurrences in disjoint time intervals, they are independent. The second assumption was that the probability of a single occurrence in a small time interval is proportional to the length of the interval. So if we convert it to the notation, it is like this, that the second assumption was that P1H is equal to lambda H plus OH. OH is, I mentioned to you that it is a small order O. And the third assumption was that the probability of more than one occurrence in a small time interval is negligible. And if we utilize the distribution property, then this can be written as this implies, so let me call them some relations. Let me call it A, and this as say B, and this B we can write as 1 minus P naught H minus P1 H. This means that P naught H is, because P1H is lambda H plus OH, so P naught H becomes 1 minus lambda H plus OH. I mean, you may say that I have written plus OH, or I should write minus OH, but since it is a negligible quantity, it does not make any difference. Under the three assumptions, we have to show that P and T is e to the power minus lambda T, lambda t to the power n by n factorial. N can be 0, 1, 2 and so on. So we will prove so it is true for n is equal to 0 and then positive integral values of n. So for positive integral values of n, we will use the method of induction, and we have to separately prove for n is equal to 0. Okay. So for n is equal to 0. So for n is equal to 0, what I will have to prove? For n is equal to 0, I have to prove, because if I put n is equal to 0 here, it becomes P0t is equal to e to the power minus lambda t. So that is what I have to prove. Okay. So let us consider P0t plus h. This is probability of no occurrence in the interval of length 0 to in the interval of the length t plus h. So we can write 0 to t plus h. Okay. Let us consider this 0, then we have t, then we have t plus h. Okay. So h is a small number, that is what we have to take. So 0 to t is the interval, then t to t plus h. I am splitting this interval 0 to t plus h into two parts. Now I am saying that there is no occurrence in 0 to t plus h. This means that there is no occurrence here and there is no occurrence here. So we can write it as probability of no occurrence in 0 to t intersection no occurrence in t to t plus h. It is intersection of these two events. Now the first assumption of the Poisson process is that the number of occurrences in disjoint intervals are independent. So this event and this event, because the interval 0 to t and t to t plus h, these are disjoint intervals, therefore they are independent. Okay, these two events are independent. So therefore probability of the intersection is equal to the product of the probabilities. So this we can write as probability of no occurrence in 0 to t into probability of no occurrence in t to t plus h. Is this point clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So this is then equal to P0t, because this is interval of length t and the second one is an interval of length h. So that is becoming P0h. Okay. Now this is equal to P0t and P0h, if you remember, we just now derived in the expression C here. P0h is 1 minus lambda h plus OH. So we will put it there. So this is 1 minus lambda h plus OH. So what we have got, that P0t plus h minus P0t divided by h, that becomes minus lambda P0t plus OH by H P0 T. Okay. Is this clear? We started with P0 T plus H and we got this expression P0 T into 1 minus lambda H plus OH. So, okay, there is a error here. This is T. So P0 T plus H minus P0 T by H, that is equal to minus lambda P0 T plus OH by H P0 T. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So what we do, we take limit as H tends to 0 on both sides. So left hand side you will get P0 prime T, that is equal to minus lambda P0 T, and second term will become 0 because of the OH by H term that goes to 0 as H tends to infinity. Now you can easily recognize the last term. It is nothing but a first order linear differential equation, and it is actually variable separable form. So immediately the solution can be obtained here. I mean, it is like dy by dx is equal to minus lambda y. So the solution is, I mean, like log y is equal to x plus c. So you can consider the solution as first order ordinary differential equation. So it has solution P0T is equal to some constant times e to the power minus lambda t. And that constant you can determine using certain initial condition. For example, what is P00? P00 means probability of no occurrence in the interval of length 1. Okay, length 0. So that is 1. So using initial condition, so for n is equal to 0, you have established the relationship 1. Now if we want to use the method of induction, then I should prove for n is equal to 1, assume for n is equal to k, and then proceed to n is equal to k plus 1. So for that, let us consider now n is equal to 1. Okay, so we have P1. Again, I will consider P1T plus H. That is the probability of one occurrence in 0 to T plus H. Again, let me draw the time scale. See, you are saying one occurrence in the interval 0 to T plus H. So this one occurrence can be here or it can be here. So this we can split the event as this is probability of one occurrence in 0 to T and no occurrence in T to T plus H, or no occurrence in 0 to T and one occurrence in T to T plus H. Is this breakup clear?
Yes.
Yes, sir, it's clear.
So, and again we use the
Sir.
independence here. So this probabilities will become probability of this intersection becomes product of the probability. So the first one becomes probability of one occurrence in 0 to T into probability of no occurrence in T to T plus H plus probability of no occurrence in 0 to T into probability of one occurrence in T to T plus H. So this is nothing but P1T into P0H plus P0T into P1H. So this is P1T, P0H, if you remember the expression 1 minus lambda H plus OH, and P0T just now we established it is e to the power minus lambda T. P1H is lambda H plus OH. Okay, is this clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
So once again, I take P1T to the left hand side. So it is P1T plus H minus P1T divided by H. That is equal to minus lambda P1T plus lambda e to the power minus lambda T plus OH by H P1T plus OH by H e to the power minus lambda T. So I have done the adjustment of the terms. I took P1T to the left hand side and I have divided it by H. So I get this part. So once again, you take the limit as H tends to 0 on both sides. So I will get P1 prime T is equal to minus lambda P1T plus lambda e to the power minus lambda T. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Again, if you notice here, this is nothing but a first order. This is a first order linear ODE. Okay. And you know how to solve the linear ODE. You have to consider the integrating factor. If you take this to the left hand side, the integrating factor will become e to the power lambda t. And the solution then will become p1t into e to the power lambda t is equal to integral lambda e to the power minus lambda t into e to the power lambda t. So that will become lambda, so lambda t. So the solution becomes simply p1t is equal to, it has solution p1t is equal to lambda t e to the power minus lambda t plus some constant. Okay. And again, we can use this initial condition P10, for example. P10 means probability of one occurrence in the interval of length 0. So it should be 0. So if you substitute P10 is equal to 0, you will get C1 is equal to 0. So using initial condition P10 is equal to 0, we get C1 is equal to 0. So P1t is lambda t e to the power minus lambda t. We had to prove that P and t is equal to e to the power minus lambda t to the power n by n factorial. So you can see that for n is equal to 1, we had to prove that P1t is equal to lambda t e to the power minus lambda t, which is proved here. So one is established for n is equal to 1. Next, we assume let us assume it to be true for all n less than or equal to k. Now consider n is equal to k plus 1. So for k, let me again draw the line here, 0 to t, and then you have t plus h. So we consider p1 k plus 1 t plus h. This is probability of k plus 1 occurrences in the interval 0 to t plus h. Now you see from the interval 0 to t plus h, we are having k plus 1 occurrences. So we can have all of the k plus 1 occurrences in the interval 0 to t and no occurrence in the interval t to t plus h. Or we can have k occurrences in 0 to t, 1 occurrence in t to t plus h. We can have k minus 1 occurrences in 0 to t, 2 occurrences in t plus h, t to t plus h, and so on. Finally, no occurrence in 0 to t and all k plus 1 occurrences in t to t plus h. So if we use the breakup that I have given earlier for n is equal to 1 case, that we have written like this. P1t, P0h plus P0t, P1h. That is one occurrence in the first interval, no occurrence in the second interval, no occurrence in the first interval, one occurrence in the second interval. Now we increase it. We will have k plus 1 here, no here, k here, 1 here, then k minus 1 here, 2 here, like that. So if we use this one, then we can write it as pk plus 1 t p0h plus pkt p1h and so on. So other things I will write it in a crisp form. Okay, is this clear? We have used the same argument and the assumptions as before. So can anybody tell, is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So again, we just substitute the values here. So this is equal to pk plus 1t, p0h is 1 minus lambda h plus oh plus, and we have assumed up to k. So pkt is e to the power minus lambda t to the power k by k factorial, and p1h is lambda h plus oh, and the next part is pk minus 1. So for j is equal to 1, this is pk minus 1t, then pk minus 2t and so on. Now we have made the assumption there that the statement 1 is true for n less than or equal to k. So we can write it as sigma e to the power minus lambda t to the power k minus j by k minus j factorial, and then pj plus 1h. Now what is this pj plus 1? The lowest value is for j is equal to 1, that is p2h, then p3h. Now the third assumption was that the probability of more than one occurrence in a small interval is negligible. So all of this will become OH. Is this clear?
So can you explain this part again? Like how it comes out to be 0?
Yeah. Not 0, it is OH. It is not 0.
OH, like negligible.
Because if I consider pj plus 1h, so this is p2h, p3h and so on. We have made the assumption that the probability of more than one occurrence is negligible. So p2h is negligible, p3h is negligible, so all of them are OH. Because we have written p2h plus p3h and so on, that is a small OH. So all of these terms are a small OH, so we just put it there. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
So again we do the adjustment of the terms. I take pk plus 1t to the left hand side. So we get pk plus 1 t plus h minus pk plus 1 t divided by h equal to minus lambda pk plus 1 t, and then we have this term also, e to the power minus lambda t to the power k by k factorial into lambda h. So if you divide by h will cancel out and you are left with so plus lambda to the power k plus 1 t to the power k divided by k factorial e to the power minus lambda t plus OH by H into some terms. Okay. You look at this one. This term I have written lambda to the power k plus 1 t to the power k divided by k factorial e to the power minus lambda t. And remaining terms are OH into something. So OH by H into something. So I don't have to write it expressly. So now you take limit pk plus 1 prime t that is equal to minus lambda pk plus 1 t plus lambda k plus 1 t to the power k by k factorial e to the power minus lambda t. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now you look at it again, it is a first order linear differential equation. Okay. So integrating factor will become, if you take it to the left hand side, lambda t e to the power lambda t. So e to the power lambda t is the integrating factor and the solution is pk plus 1 t into e to the power lambda t is equal to, and on the right hand side then you will have this integral of this term multiplied by e to the power lambda t. So e to the power minus lambda t, e to the power lambda t cancels out. So integral of t to the power k is t to the power k plus 1 by k plus 1. So this will become lambda t to the power k plus 1 by k plus 1 factorial and then plus a constant of integration. So what do you get here? So this is again a first order linear ODE. Pk plus 1 t is equal to lambda t to the power k plus 1 e to the power minus lambda t divided by k plus 1 factorial plus some constant, and use the initial condition pk plus 1 0 is equal to 0. So we have established the relationship 1 for n is equal to k plus 1. So by the principle of mathematical induction, it is true for all integral values of n. So I hope the proof of Poisson process is clear.
Yes, sir.
So under certain assumptions, we can derive the distribution of number of occurrences in a given time interval. I have already mentioned to you that this time interval can be changed to area also. It can be changed to spatial process also. So there are various applications, but for convenience, I have considered here the time. So let us take the example. So I have just considered this Poisson process of the number of students entering the class. Okay. So suppose the students enter the class at the rate of 10 per minute. Okay. So what is the probability that no student entered in 1 minute period? What is the probability that 20 students entered in a 5-minute period kind of thing? So we are just putting some condition here. Okay. So here, if I am considering the unit of time as minute, okay, here unit of time is minute, okay, then lambda is equal to 10. So the first question that is being asked, that is there is no student entered, that is P0 in a 1 minute period. So it is equal to e to the power minus lambda t. So that is equal to e to the power minus 10. So if the rate of entering the class is 10 per minute, so if you consider that there is no student which entered in a 1 minute period, then the probability is very small actually. It is approximately 0.00045 kind of thing. So it is very small. Okay. If I consider it here in place of 1 minute period, I consider say no student entered into the class in say suppose I say no student entered in say 6 seconds. Then this is P0 and 6 seconds for 1 minute it is 1 by 10. So then this is e to the power minus lambda t. that is e to the power minus 1. So then this is approximately, of course, this is approximately 0.37. Okay, so which is reasonable thing, that nearly 1 in 3 chance is there that in 6-second period no student entered. Okay, let us look at the second part. What is the probability that 20 students entered in a 5-minute period? So we are asking P20 in a 5-minute period. So then this is e to the power minus lambda t, e to the power. So here it is e to the power minus lambda t to the power n divided by n factorial. So now here you consider the lambda is 10 and t is 5. So e to the power minus 50, 50 to the power 20 by 20 factorial. Of course, this will be very small number here. In a similar way, you can calculate various kind of events. For example, number of accidents occurring in a factory. Okay, number of natural calamities occurring. For example, now yesterday you have seen that there is a disaster in Uttarakhand. Okay, so what is the rate of occurrence of such disaster? So if you have observed over the years, then you can say that roughly 3 or 4 disasters take place every year in the hills of this type, either cloud burst or glacier melting or this kind of thing. So then you can find out the probability about that kind of thing. Okay. Let us take another example. So here the unit of time is 1 year. Okay. So for example, what is the first question? P0, 6 months will become half year. So it is e to the power minus lambda t. So here lambda is equal to 3. So e to the power minus 3 by 2. That is e to the power minus 1.5. So if we want to calculate this, this is approximately 0.22. One disaster in 4 months, for example. So P1, 1 by 3. That is equal to e to the power minus lambda t. That is equal to lambda t into e to the power minus lambda t. So lambda is 3 and t is 1 by 3. So it becomes e to the power minus 1. I hope these applications are clear.
Yes, sir.
Now from the Poisson process, what we are calculating, we are finding out the distribution of the number of occurrences in a Poisson process. So in a Poisson process, we are considering how many events occurred during a particular time interval or in a particular area or in a particular spatial place. Okay. So if we fix that, for example, if my time limit is fixed, if my area is fixed, then lambda t becomes single term, isn't it? Here I am considering over the time, so t is changing. But if we fix the time, so suppose I am considering area. So for example, area means Uttarakhand or say Delhi. So the place is fixed, then I don't have to change the area. And then the rate is known, then lambda t becomes a fixed value. Here what I am doing, I am changing lambda and t, okay, because lambda is dependent upon the unit of time. If I am considering minute, then it is something, but if I consider it hour, then I have to multiply it by 60. If I consider second, then I have to divide it by 60. Okay, so if my contextual reference is fixed, then lambda tb can be considered as a number. Okay, and that part is called the historical Poisson distribution. So when our time frame, area, space is fixed, then we can consider lambda t to be fixed constant. Okay, let us rename it lambda. Then probability of x is equal to x, it becomes e to the power minus lambda, lambda to the power x by x factorial. So this one is the initial Poisson distribution. So in the books of statistics, generally you will find this form. I have derived the one which is derived by the physicist. I mean, Wiley-Poisson. Actually, Poisson is the name of the French scientist who derived it in studying the movement of the molecules. So how many molecules they get transferred from one liquid to the another if there is a channel between them. So he derived it that. But the original Poisson distribution, whatever I am calling classical Poisson distribution, is actually of this particular form. Okay, the form that I have written here, and it was derived earlier as a limiting case of a binomial distribution. So more about it later. Let me firstly study the properties, like we are doing the mean, variance and other kind of things. So let us do that. To check that it is a valid distribution, you need to see that the sum of the probabilities is equal to 1, which is of course true because the expansion of e to the power lambda is 1 plus lambda square by 2 factorial and so on. So it is e to the power lambda Then we can look at the mean, for example. So it is expectation of x, that is x into e to the power minus lambda, lambda to the power x by x factorial. Now corresponding to x is equal to 0, this term is 0. So we can consider it is starting from 1. Okay. So this term then I can adjust here, and this will become e to the power minus lambda, lambda to the power x by x minus 1 factorial. X is equal to 1 to infinity. So as we have done in the binomial, geometric and negative binomial distribution, etc., we follow the same thing, and we can write it as e to the power minus lambda, lambda, and then sigma, and y is equal to 0 to infinity, lambda to the power y by y factorial. So this term is again e to the power lambda, so it is becoming simply lambda. So the mean of a Poisson distribution is lambda. Now you can look at the physical interpretation. I mentioned to you that in a Poisson process, lambda is the rate of occurrence or rate of arrival in a Poisson process, isn't it? So basically the rate becomes the average value. Okay. So in a time interval of length t, the expected number of occurrences will be lambda t. So now you can see here, when I put t as the fixed thing, so lambda t again I replace by lambda, then lambda is the mean of the Poisson distribution. Is that okay? Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So what is happening that because of factorial term, we have to adjust the factorial. So we have to actually calculate the factorial moments only, like in the binomial, in the geometric, in the negative binomial, in all those distributions, even in the hypergeometric. Okay. So in order to calculate the second one, that is mu2 prime, we will actually calculate expectation of x into x minus 1 and then plus expectation of x. So if you apply the same logic here, if I calculate x into x minus 1, then I will calculate x into x minus 1, and in the denominator I have x factorial. So it will become x minus 2 factorial, because corresponding to x equal to 0 and 1, this term will vanish. So this will become then lambda square plus lambda, because this will just, you have to take out two terms there. So mu2, that is the variance of x, that is mu2 prime minus mu1 prime is square, that is lambda square plus lambda minus lambda square, that is lambda. So in a Poisson distribution, mean and variance are always same. So that is an interesting observation. And you can easily calculate the higher order moments also, because the third factorial moment will become lambda cube, the fourth factorial moment will become lambda to the power 4, and so on, isn't it? Because if you calculate expectation of x into x minus 1 into x minus 2, then this will become lambda cube. If I consider x into x minus 1 into x minus 2 into x minus 3, this will become lambda to the power 4. So your mu3, so firstly mu3 prime, that will become lambda cube plus 3 lambda square plus lambda. So from here, if I calculate, mu3 is also lambda. So in a Poisson distribution, mean, the variance, and the third central moment, all the three are same. And mu 4 prime, you can see it will become lambda to the power 4 plus 6 lambda cube plus 7 lambda square plus lambda. And therefore mu 4 becomes lambda plus 3 lambda square. So all of these things you prove. I am leaving it as an exercise to you. Let us look at the skewness and kurtosis here. First thing is that if you look at the form of the distribution itself, it is e to the power minus lambda, lambda to the power x by x factorial. So you can see that as x increases, x factorial will increase. Therefore, the term will always decrease. So it will always be a positively skewed distribution. We can check it by calculating the measure of skewness, that is mu 3 by mu 2 to the power 3 by 2. That is lambda divided by lambda to the power 3 by 2. That is 1 by lambda to the power half. So this is always positive. So Poisson distribution is positively skewed. Actually, it is easy to see the probabilities here. See, corresponding to 0, you have e to the power minus lambda t, and then you have, or you, suppose I put lambda t is equal to lambda, so it is e to the power minus lambda. Then the next term is lambda into e to the power minus lambda. So if lambda is less than 1, then it will again become less, and then lambda square by 2 factorial. So it will become progressively smaller. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and so on. If I consider lambda to be, say, greater than 1, then 0, it is e to the power minus lambda, then lambda e to the power minus lambda will become slightly bigger, and lambda square by 2 may become slightly bigger, but thereafter the denominator will become more. So it will come down progressively. So even here, if you consider this, it is again positively skewed. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Let us look at, say, measure of kurtosis. So that is mu 4 by mu 2 square minus 3. So that is becoming lambda plus 3 lambda square by lambda square minus 3. That is 1 by lambda, which is also positive. So it is leptokurtic. Let us also look at the moment generating function here. That is summation e to the power tx e to the power minus lambda, lambda to the power x by x factorial, x is equal to 0 to infinity. So we can write it as sigma lambda e to the power t whole to the power x by x factorial, x is equal to 0 to infinity. This is nothing but an expansion of e to the power lambda e to the power t. So we can just put it straight away. That is equal to e to the power minus lambda, e to the power lambda, e to the power t. So we can put it as e to the power lambda, e to the power t minus 1. This is valid for all values of t. Is this derivation clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so
Yes,
let us
sir.
just break for 5 minutes. Yeah, let us break for 5 minutes and then I will join back. Okay. So this derivation of the MGF is clear?
Yes,
Yes,
sir, it's
sir.
clear.
Now as I mentioned to you that this particular form which I have told you now, this is the classical Poisson distribution. So how this was obtained? This was obtained as a limiting distribution of binomial distribution. Okay. Poisson distribution as a limiting form of binomial. So let me give this result here. So let X have, say, binomial NP distribution. Then as n tends to infinity, P tends to 0 such that NP tends to lambda. Okay. Px x converges to e to the power minus lambda, lambda to the power x by x factorial. Okay, for all x. That means in the binomial distribution, if the number of trials becomes large, so like n is equal to 1000, n is equal to 5000 and so on, and p tends to 0. P tends to 0 means then the probability of success in each trial becomes very small. Then the binomial distribution will converge to Poisson distribution provided n into p, that is the, you can say, expected number of success in n trials. If that remains constant or that converges to a constant lambda, then the binomial distribution converges to a Poisson distribution. Let us look at the proof of this. So you have Pxx as Ncx p to the power x 1 minus p to the power n minus x. This we can write as n factorial divided by x factorial into n minus x factorial. And since I am saying np goes to lambda, we can put actually p as lambda by n approximately, because we have to take the limit, so I will use this notation, and then this I can write as now I will adjust the terms. So this becomes lambda to the power x by x factorial, and I am left with some more terms here, n into n minus 1 into n minus x plus 1 divided by n to the power x, and then I am left with 1 minus lambda by n to the power n, 1 minus lambda by n to the power minus x. Is that okay? I have rewritten the terms after adjustment of the terms.
Yes, sir.
So now if you take the limit as n tends to infinity, See here, I had to take the limit as n tends to infinity, p tends to 0, and np tends to lambda. Now all of that I have reduced to single term only, that is the limit I have to take only in n. Because np is equal to lambda I have already substituted here. So the term for which I have to take the limit includes only n here. So if I take the limit, I will get this n into n minus 1 into n minus x plus 1. The order of this is n to the power x, and in the denominator also you have n to the power x, so this will go to 1. 1 minus lambda by n to the power n goes to e to the power minus lambda. And 1 minus lambda by n to the power minus x goes to 1. So I am left with only this one. So binomial distribution converges to Poisson distribution. Actually, you can use the moment generating function also. We can, because we have used the uniqueness thing there. So let me give an alternative proof here. What is the MGF of a binomial distribution? You remember that it is q plus p e to the power t whole to the power n. So that we can write as 1 plus p e to the power t minus 1. Once again, if we use the same thing that np is equal to lambda, so p is equal to lambda by n. So this is 1 plus lambda by n e to the power t minus 1. So if I take the limit, this will go to e to the power lambda e to the power t minus, which is the MGF of Poisson distribution. Now it is important to understand that what is the physical significance of this, because I mentioned to you that binomial distribution arises from the Bernoullian trials, and from Bernoullian trials we also physically derive geometric distribution, negative binomial distribution, etc. But Poisson distribution, we could not think like that. Okay, I gave you another derivation using Poisson process, which is of course a much later development. But this limit was obtained earlier. So those time, this De Moivre and Laplace, etc., what they have thought, when I am saying there is an occurrence, okay, now then this occurrence actually, like I am saying a unit of time, a minute. In a minute, say I am saying rate is 3. If I reduce that time from minute to second, then it becomes 1 by 20. Suppose I denote, reduce it further, in place of second I put it a nanosecond. Then the probability will become even less. The rate will become very small, isn't it? Because P1H is lambda h plus OH. So if h becomes very small, this lambda h becomes very small. Therefore, we can consider every epoch as occurrence or being there, or there is no occurrence. Okay. So if there is an occurrence, we can call it a success. If there is no occurrence, we can call it a failure. So it becomes a success failure kind of thing. So if we consider it in a broader perspective, then the interpretation that is given by this limit theorem holds true. And that is why theoretically also we are able to derive this result. Okay, so we will see some problems based on this also after some time. So we'll come to that thing. Now let me proceed further here. So I hope I have explained this correctly here. Have you understood it? Is this convergence concept understandable?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Somebody is asking a question. Is there any question or is it okay? Is it okay? Shall I proceed further?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So next I move to spatial continuous distributions. See, I have covered few spatial discrete distributions. By the general description of probability mass function and the general description of probability density function, we can think that there are uncountably many discrete distributions and uncountably many continuous distributions. However, some of the distributions are of more importance because they arise in particular kind of cases. Okay. So in a similar way, now let me consider certain spatial continuous distributions. Now, if you remember, what was the first distribution in the discrete case? It was the one which was corresponding to the experiment in which outcomes are considered to be equally likely. Now, in the same way, if you consider a continuous distribution, there is a uniform density kind of thing, isn't it? See, suppose I consider a pen, for example. So you can look at this. So there is a pen here. Okay. So in this particular portion, you can consider, if I take from this place to this place, okay, we can consider the density to be uniform. Okay. Or for example, if I consider the say for example, this flat surface is there. So if I consider say density at each of these points, this is uniform because this whatever material I have taken, it is of uniform thickness. Okay. Now if I want to describe a continuous distribution using this uniform density, then the form of the distribution will become that over an interval or over an area, etc. It will become, so we can consider it as so uniform distribution. If the density function is uniform, that is constant, it is called continuous uniform distribution. So that means I am saying fx is equal to a constant over an interval a to b. Okay. So what should be the value of the constant? This integral must be equal to 1. Integral k dx from a to b, this is equal to 1. That means k times a minus b is equal to 1. So it means k is equal to 1 by b minus a, not a minus b. So the probability density function of a continuous one by b minus a for a less than x less than b. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
You can look at the plot of it. So a to b, it is 1 by b minus a. So the value is constant, isn't it? So if we put it like this, it looks like a rectangle. So this is also called a rectangular distribution. Because if you plot the density, it looks like a rectangle. Of course, if it is constant density, it is also symmetric about its midpoint. So this is a plus b by 2. So expectation of x, that is integral x by b minus a from a to b dx, that is e plus b by 2. So that is the midpoint here. In fact, moment of any order can be calculated because it is an integral over a finite range of a constant into a power of x. Therefore, moment of every order will exist. So that is b to the power k plus 1 minus a to the power k plus 1 divided by k plus 1 into b minus a. So for any order of k, the moment will exist. In particular, we will calculate mu2 prime. So mu2 prime is b cube minus a cube by 3 times b minus a. So that will become a square plus b square plus ab by 3. So you can calculate the variance from here. So that will give me b minus a whole square by 12. So standard deviation, that is sigma, that is b minus a divided by 2 root 3. So in a continuous uniform distribution, the mean is the mid value of the interval over which the density is constant, and the standard deviation is the length of the interval divided by 2 times square root 3. As you know, actually square root 3 is 1.71 something. So 2 into that is actually 3.4. So length of the interval divided by 3.4, that is the. Let me also write down what is the CDF here. So CDF is 0 for x less than or equal to a. Then it will become x minus a divided by if you can plot it like this, a to b it is a line and thereafter it is plateau. Of course, I have made here a and b on the positive side, but it is not necessary. It can be like -1 to 1, it can be -3 to -2. The length of the interval can be anything. I like it can be from -2 to 7 and so on. What is the moment generating function of this? So that is e to the power tx divided by b minus a dx a to b. So that is equal to e to the power bt minus e to the power at divided by t times b minus a. For t not equal to 0, if t is equal to 0, of course this is 1. So this is the moment generating function of a uniform distribution. A particular uniform distribution is the uniform distribution on the interval 0 to 1. A is equal to 0, b is equal to 1. Then we write x follows uniform 0 to 1. And the density function is simply 1 for 0 less than x less than 1. It is equal to 0 elsewhere. And for this particular case, what is the moment generating function? You will write e to the power bt, that is e to the power t, minus e to the power at, that is e to the power 0, that is 1, divided by t for t not equal to 0, it is equal to 1. This particular one is of special significance. After some time I will teach you. This distribution is used for simulating of the random variables. Okay. When you will go to your advanced courses in engineering and other places of science, you will see that large number of times we need to simulate certain processes, certain engineering application somewhere. We are not actually doing it, but we are simulating. So when we simulate, we need to simulate through a process, and that process is based on the simulation of uniform random variables, and that uniform random variable is uniform 0, 1. So this is of special significance. Okay. Now let me move to another distribution. Suppose I consider a Poisson process xt with rate lambda. Okay. Let y be the time for the first occurrence. So it is like this. I start observing the arrival of the students in the class from 7:55. Okay, so the first student may enter at 7:55, 15 seconds, 12 seconds, 30 seconds, and so on. So time is a continuous random variable. We want the, what is the distribution of y? Okay, what is the distribution of y? This is what we want. So 0, and so this is the time, say, let me put it here, say y. Okay. What is the probability that, say, y is greater than y? So this means that in the interval of the length 0 to y, there is no occurrence. This means no occurrence in the interval 0 to y. So if I utilize my Poisson process definition, it means I am saying what is the probability of xy is equal to 0. So that is e to the power minus lambda y. Is this description clear? I am considering a Poisson process with rate lambda, and y is the time for the first occurrence. That means starting from the time 0, that means when we start observing the process, what is the time for the first occurrence? That is a random variable, it is a continuous random variable. I want to find out the distribution of y. In order to calculate the distribution, I consider the event probability of capital Y greater than certain small y. So on the time scale, if I see 0 to y interval, if I say capital Y is somewhere here, then it means that in the interval 0 to y, there is no occurrence. In terms of the Poisson process, event is amounting to probability that xy is equal to 0. So it is e to the power minus lambda y. So therefore we can write here fyy, that is 1 minus probability y greater than y. Of course, this is for y greater than 0. If y is less than 0, then this is going to be 1, because if I consider negative point and I say y is greater than a negative point, that is always going to be 1. So we can say 1 minus e to the power minus lambda y for y greater than 0. So we are able to derive the cumulative distribution function of this random variable capital Y. So the probability density function of y is obtained by differentiation. So that is equal to 0 for y less than 0. It is lambda e to the power minus lambda y. Let me write it. Okay. So this is the probability distribution of the waiting time for the first occurrence in a Poisson process. This is called a negative exponential distribution. Loosely, we just call it exponential distribution, but in particular, we will call it a negative exponential distribution. Is this derivation clear?
Yes, sir.
We can consider the moments of any order here. So that is y to the power k lambda e to the power minus lambda y. All of you are familiar with the gamma function, beta gamma functions, you are familiar? So this is nothing but the gamma k plus 1 divided by lambda to the power k plus 1. So which is nothing but basically k factorial divided by lambda to the power k. So in particular, what is mu1 prime? Mu1 prime will become 1 by lambda. That is expectation of y. Again, try to interpret this. I am saying that in a Poisson process, the rate of occurrence of events is lambda. Okay, in the unit time, whatever unit of time I am considering. So what is the expected time for the first occurrence? It is 1 by lambda. You can consider the analogy with the discrete case. In a discrete case, when I am considering a Bernoullian trials and the probability of success in each trial is P, then what is the expected number of trials needed for the first success? That was 1 by P. So here in the Poisson, as I considered Poisson as a limiting case of the binomial, then exponential distribution is the limiting case of a geometric distribution. And therefore, the interpretation for the waiting time, expected waiting time, is that the reciprocal of the rate of arrival in the corresponding Poisson process. Of course, you can calculate other things also. For example, what is mu2 prime? That will become 2 by lambda square. So what is mu2? That is variance. That will be 2 by lambda square minus 1 by lambda square. So it is 1 by lambda square. So in an exponential distribution, variance is square of the mean. In Poisson distribution, mean and variance were same. So here, standard deviation is 1 by lambda. So in exponential distribution, mean and the standard deviation are the same. Since the form of the distribution is lambda e to the power minus lambda y, as y increases, this will always decrease. So the distribution is always positively skewed. We can calculate actually mu3, for example, that is 2 by lambda cube. Mu4, if we calculate, it is 9 by lambda to the power 4. So if I calculate beta 1 is mu3 by mu2 to the power 3 by 2. So that becomes 2. So which is always positive. Okay. So exponential distribution always positively skewed. Similarly, we can calculate beta 2, that is mu 4 by mu 2 square minus 3, that is 6. That is also always positive. So always leptokurtic. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So I will stop today's class at this point, and tomorrow we will consider the further distribution in this connection. I mean, exponential distribution is one distribution arising in a Poisson process. We will also look at gamma distribution and other distributions also. I hope your exam was okay. I will look at the performance, and maybe tomorrow we can also look at the solutions of those questions. Although questions were very simple, most of the questions were extremely simple actually. So I think you must have done well. So then we will meet tomorrow. I'll stop today's class at this point.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
So, like in the paper, there were at some point there was like 1 by n dashed. So, like it wasn't clear like what number it was, and they asked the value of n. So, like if you could
Yeah,
just
probability, because if it is given in the form of because it is like suppose 1 by 30. So in
yes,
place
sir.
of giving the value as 0.303 or something like that, we are just asking what is n itself.
Yes, sir. But the thing was that like it was like n cube or something. There was
No,
a,
no, no, no. It was n only.
sir, if you could check.
Okay, I will see that thing, but it was not n cube. It was 1 by n only.
Okay, sir.
Sir, will both truncated and rounded off values be considered?
We will consider that.
Thank you, sir.